All right, let's get right into it. We're on a quest to find a promise. But not just any promise. We're looking for what many theologians consider the oldest, most foundational prophecy in the entire Bible. And it's hiding in a place you would probably never expect, right at the very beginning of the whole story. So think about it. If you were looking for the first prophecy of a savior, where would your mind go? Maybe the big, epic poems in Isaiah? Or the Psalms of David? Well, according to scholars like William Hanna Thomson, the real answer is tucked away much, much earlier, right at the exact moment when everything seems to be going completely wrong. To find this promise, we have to go way back to the very beginning, to a garden. See, the story doesn't start with brokenness, it starts with wholeness, a state of perfect union between humanity and God, a world with no shame, no fear, no separation. And right at the heart of this garden, you've got these two really important symbolic trees. There's the tree of life, which pretty much represents this ongoing, unending connection to God. And then there's the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. This one represents a totally different path, a choice to grab for a kind of wisdom humanity wasn't designed to handle. This was the one that was off limits. And, well, we all know how this part of the story goes, right? A choice is made to eat from that forbidden tree. And in that one act, that perfect union is shattered. The original design for humanity is broken, and it creates the central problem for the rest of the biblical story. Humanity is now alienated from God. But this is where it gets incredible. Right here, in the middle of this catastrophic failure, we find the very thing we're looking for. Theologians have a special name for it, the protoevangelium. It's a Greek word that basically means first good news. It's this mind-blowing idea that the very first hint of the gospel, the first whisper of a rescue plan, shows up right then and there. Not centuries later, but at the dawn of human history.
And here it is, Genesis chapter 3, verse 15. Now, at first glance, this just sounds like God is cursing the serpent, right? But buried inside this curse is what William Hanna Thomson calls the first intimation of Christ, a super dense 4-part prophecy that basically lays out the entire coming drama of conflict and redemption. Okay, so let's break this down. To really understand what's going on in this one little verse, we need to look at 4 key pieces. This idea of enmity, the very specific role of the woman, these 2 seeds that are mentioned, and finally, the 2 blows that are described.
So first up, the enmity. This isn't just about people not liking snakes. No, what's being established here is a deep, cosmic, spiritual war. It's a declaration that from this point forward, there will be this timeless conflict, a fundamental opposition between the forces of evil and God's plan for humanity. Now, this next part is fascinating. Notice the specific focus on the woman. In that ancient world, and for most of the Bible, the man is the representative head of the family, or even the whole human race. So, as Thomson argues, calling out the woman here is totally deliberate. It's a massive clue, pointing to something truly unique and exceptional about how this Redeemer is going to arrive. So, this cosmic conflict then gets boiled down to these 2 seeds. The prophecy sets up 2 opposing sides, 2 spiritual family lines, if you will. On one side, you have the seed of the serpent, which represents everyone and everything aligned with evil. And on the other side, you have the seed of the woman, representing the one who will fulfill this promise of redemption. And here is the detail that just changes everything. According to Thomson's analysis of the original Hebrew, the word for seed here is singular. It isn't talking about seeds, plural, like a whole nation or all of humanity. It's pointing to one specific, individual descendant who will come from the woman to face off against the serpent. And finally, that brings us to the 2 blows, the 2 wounds. This imagery brilliantly spells out the final score. The serpent is going to strike the heel of the woman's seed. That's a painful, damaging wound for sure, but it's not fatal. But in return, the woman's seed will crush the serpent's head. And that is a decisive, fatal, and totally victorious blow. So when you put all these pieces together, you can see how Christian interpretation just maps this prophecy perfectly onto the story of Jesus. The singular seed of the woman is Jesus, born of Mary. The bruised heel becomes his suffering and death on the cross, a terrible wound, but not the end of the story. And the crushed head is his resurrection, his ultimate final victory over the power of sin and death itself. So the whole point is this. The Bible's grand story of salvation doesn't kick off with a king being crowned or a prophet shouting from a mountain. It starts right here, with this quiet, almost hidden promise.
It's just a whisper of hope spoken into humanity's darkest moment, setting the entire stage for everything that is to come.
Which really leaves us with something to think about, doesn't it? How does knowing that the very first promise of a Savior was made in a garden, the exact site of the fall, change how you see the final victory that was won on a cross? It's just this incredible bookend, a narrative arc that stretches from the very first page of the story all the way to its triumphant conclusion.